And the song that Chris shared was Moscow, but with a weird spelling. Moskau.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
That's the song. That's how I got introduced to the band. So as I said, you and Chris.
That's a good song actually. I love that song.
Mic check 1 2
Novi,
4
please,
1 2
this
4
is not a podcast.
I want to take a train from Moscow to Vladivostok.
This is
it took
not
me
a
7
podcast.
days. Wait, it's not?
The next one is, of course, because when you think of Mercury, you think of this word, which I think everybody will associates that with you, and that is in bold letters on the screen. It's Eurovision, and this is something I have no idea about. So you have to do all the talking. You have
Technically true. I have introduced you to it over the past year.
Exactly. You have introduced me to it. I have watched and enjoyed music videos and in the past year. You have followed it. So you know about the event, the history, the fans. Tell me about everything. What is Eurovision, first of all?
It's basically a song contest. The title is the Eurovision Song Contest. When you think of like song contest, you might think of like X Factor or something that's just country by country. Whereas Eurovision, obviously, it's got Euro at the front of it, so it incorporates Europe and beyond. So usually, well, in recent years there have been like 40 entries per year. But obviously, this has grown a lot from in the past. It's been going for, when did it start? 1956. So the let's just say the mid 50s. Let's say that.
So it's been called Eurovision from the start.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Eurovision was actually based on it was based on a different song contest, the Italian Festival di San Remo. So that started a couple of years before, and they thought, okay, let's make this bigger. Let's include all the countries. Let's just see where we can. But I can't remember how many countries were entered in the first year. I think it was like 6 or something. So we've gone from 6 up to 40 plus. And yes, that would have just been Europe. But now, obviously, as I've said before, and things, obviously Australia enters now.
Ma'am, Australia enters everywhere. Yeah.
Yes, they entered for the 60th anniversary and have just been invited back ever since. But then obviously we've got some countries which aren't in Europe either. So I don't know.
Like Israel and other countries which are on the border, like West Asian countries are in. Yeah, I've seen the list. Yes, you're right. Do you have a favorite? Is it like a team, or I don't know how we. I'm just relating it to like a sport competition where I'm like.
Each country between, when is it? Well, the first country usually announces December. If we exclude this year, because this year is messed up as we know. But for like previous years, the first country starts announcing in like from December till around March. That's the time when all the 40 countries will like release their songs or pick their songs and say that's what we're entering. Most of them will show them off to the public in that time.
So every country has their own local competition to select their representation for Eurovision for that year.
It entirely depends, because to be in Eurovision you have to be a member of the European Broadcasting Union.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not a member of that, you're not getting entered. But then, so like for the UK, we have the BBC. So the BBC will decide how they want to select the acts.
Okay.
Or they can pick internally. Yeah. So it's just up to the broadcaster how they want to do that. Through the years, like R1 for this year was internally selected, although the contest didn't go ahead. They still select, the act was still selected internally, whereas like last year's act, they were. Over in the previous years, they were externally selected, so they put a vote out to the public. Mm-hmm. So they selected, like, people had submitted songs for, I don't know, a few weeks, probably months. And then they shortlisted it and threw out 6 and said, right, here you go, public, pick what you want. I mean, they were all bad songs, but they stood no chance of winning, but we tried.
So is there a country that you are always looking forward to and you support every year, or like how is the fan base like? Is there like a loyal fan base that picks a country? And because I know for sure that like the Twitter hashtags trend a lot. because I've been in Germany for at least 2 years now, and I see whenever there's Eurovision time. So I know you're not the only one, although you're the only friend I know who is into Eurovision and follows this with so much passion. But when I go on Twitter and I click on the hashtags, thousands of people who passionately follow this event, and that's the only way it gets on trending. So how is the fan base like?
There are like fan clubs in every country. They do have a fan club. I'm not technically part of it because I didn't pay because I didn't want to pay, so I didn't join. But there are fan clubs around like in each of the countries who vote for things and whatever. So there is like.
For you personally, how is it? Like, do you support based on the country that the band represents, or is it like you are non-partial, you just go through all the entries and then you pick a particular band or a song and then you back it?
Yeah, I have like I've sort of like because based on my previous listening habit, I sort of go for countries and just like go, yeah, I can't wait to see what they have. But then for all I know, they could produce something really rubbish and just like, nope, not that year, not this year, nope.
Okay.
But I obviously, as I'm such a big fan, I would listen to all the songs a lot anyway, and some tend to grow on me over time, and it's like that's like my top 3.
Yeah.
That happened a few years ago. Like there was one song I didn't think much of it at all. I mean, it didn't qualify for the live shows, but I loved it anyway after like listening to it for several months, and then eventually it became. But the country that I look forward to was always Italy. It was always Italy. Yes.
Do you follow the Sanremo as well?
Yeah, I started watching that. Well, not watching it because it's like 5 hours every night for a week, and they're all speaking in Italian, and I don't understand it. So, but yes, I do follow the songs.
Okay.
It's like pretty much as soon as they're released or the night they're released, and on YouTube because they post them straight onto YouTube when they're done. So I'd listen to them pretty much straight away and know what's happening. So yes, my interest in Italy actually started in 2017. So the year Francesco Gabbani was picked for, won Sanremo and was picked for Italy, and then that started my whole interest in Italian music.
But personally, how did you get into Eurovision? Like, were you always? Do you remember what was it from? Your friends or school, parents?
I became a big fan. So big fan was the year I started becoming like this huge weird obsessed person with it after Conchita won. So I think that was 2014.
Okay.
Wait. Conchita, so 2014, 2015 was Mons Zamarov, then Jamal.
Oh, wow, you remember all the names of the winners as well? That's amazing.
2018 is Netta, 2019 Duncan Lawrence, 2020, yeah, so it would have been, because 2020 didn't have any, so yeah, it would have been 2014 was when Conchita won.
Yeah, 2020 didn't happen.
Well, it did happen.
No. 2020, yes. This is not 2020. We are skipping it.
Yeah. So yeah, 2014 would have been the year I started paying attention because Conchita was making headlines. But I do remember I used to watch it. I did used to watch it every year. It's like, oh, look, let's watch this before that. But it's not like I would follow it or anything. And I think the earliest memory I have of it, I know I would have watched it before because that is part of the memory. But the memory, I was 2005. I was on holiday somewhere, and I was meant to be in bed, but I was sleepy. The sofa turned into my bed, so I was in the living room basically for sleeping. And obviously the TV was in there, and it was on, and Eurovision was on that night, so I decided to watch that instead of sleeping. But I remember thinking, hey, because I think Greece won that year. And I just remember that. But I remember also thinking, that I used to watch it before, but I couldn't tell you what happened. But I remember, yes, 2005.
Since you passionately started following Eurovision, though, have you gone back and looked at old event videos and stuff? I'm sure they're on YouTube, right? They must be.
What do you mean by how old are you talking here?
No, I mean, like you just said, that 2014 was when you actively got into like following the event and every year and all that. Did you go back and look at older, like before 2000, 1980s or 1970s?
Everyone, was it 1970s? ABBA came from Eurovision.
I did not know that.
So yeah, that's when ABBA sort of became known by the wider public when they went on Eurovision. Yeah, Eurovision, it's actually, it does have a very interesting history. They used to have a website dedicated just to its history, but that doesn't exist anymore. But yeah,
I probably should have gone and read at least the Wikipedia page before I came on this call, but I'm sorry. because I would have at least asked some knowledgeable
Straight
questions. I wanted to sound a bit more aware. Right now, I'm just asking super dumb questions, but still.
Because a lot of people have not heard of Eurovision. I know this through basically who I speak to on the internet.
Yeah.
I've had Eurovision is so many times, so it's no problem.
Honestly, I think you were the first person I heard about Eurovision from. Just the fact that at the international level, there is a competition where countries fight, like not exactly fight, but compete, was just a very interesting thing for me. Because if you remember, I think I had told you this fun fact where I think there was 1 or 2 Olympics in the 1930s when music was included as an event. And that is the only fact I was aware of when countries competed for a prize. And then I came to know of Eurovision from you, and I was like, oh, this event existed all this while, and I'm coming to know of it like 2018 or something. I remember, I think it was around the time that you told me that the 2020 event was cancelled or something like that. And there was this hashtag trending where I think there was some YouTube channel where the 2003 event was.
Oh, that's the Eurovision YouTube channel. They've been, I don't know whether they're still doing it because I didn't really, well, like I do follow them, but you don't really have the time to sit and watch a 3-hour show every week.
Yeah. So they were doing like a retelecast of the old, like
pick random previous ones.
Yeah. That's why I asked you, if you also like have watched old videos of just to see how Eurovision has evolved over the years.
Yes. So yeah, I've seen they've made TV shows on the history of Eurovision, so I've seen lots of different things.
Oh, you've seen? Oh, there are documentaries, of course there are.
Yeah. So yeah. I've watched. Yeah, it's me and Eurovision. I just go and dive in and see what's there. Obviously, music from the past, like the older styles, decades. It's not my type of music generally, so.
That is one big pile of shit.
It's actually Ginny who likes Michael, but then Kelly does too.
No, I don't.
I think Kelly is jealous because Michael chose Ginny. Michael is Ravenclaw and Kelly is Ravenclaw, but then Ginny is not.
I know, I'm not actually Ravenclaw.
We'll ignore that.